The salary cap combined with the chronic and notorious cheapness of the Cincinnati Bengals has complicated their effort.
Definitely.
The report from yesterday, Sunday Splash, late night Saturday into Sunday morning, Marr, this was from Adam Schefter of ESPN, not going to do a deal now with the Bengals. And I mention this because I think his frustration manifested itself during the game yesterday.
Yep, right.
He's stuck in a tough spot. They did offer him, and I've alluded to this a couple of times. They offered him $35 million a year in new money, but the structure was caca, as they say. It was horrible structure. It was not quite the Tyreek Hill phony baloney $30 million, but the guarantees weren't right. Things were off. But hey, we got you to $35 million. You matched your friend Justin Jefferson.
Right.
That wasn't good enough. And so when Chase isn't willing to not play, and ultimately, he wasn't willing to not play week one. He wants to be there for his teammates. He went through pregame warm-ups. He finally decided to play. He's got no way to get the Bengals to improve it. So all he can do is say, I don't want your damn contract. We'll do it next year. But that's exactly what the Bengals want because they won him for $4.8 million this year. The Bengals won this stare down with Jamar Chase. And I mention it because, and I'm going somewhere with this, I want to get your thoughts on Chase. But we saw him blow a gasket yesterday after there was a hip drop tackle that he believed was a hip drop tackle. It wasn't called, and he got himself in trouble in a key moment because he mouthed off a little bit because he was upset. And I think a lot of this contractual stuff, you know, when you're mad, when you're walking around and you're just kind of generally pissed off about a lot of stuff, and somebody gives you a reason to blow your stack, you blow your stack. And like, what the hell was that?
Exactly.
It's a culmination of 5 months of being pissed off.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at. I do. And to your point, like, this is maybe what the Bengals wanted, one more year to kick the can down the road. But they got to be careful here because they're going to kick the can down the road and not have this guy he's not going to want to be on this team. That's what you got to worry about in the long run. And that's what I do worry about. And, of course, that's Jamar Chase's feelings. Do I think he was off base on being mad for what he was mad at? I think he thought he got horse-collared. It wasn't a horse collar. And
I think it wasn't hip drop. Apparently it was hip drop.
It wasn't either. Yeah. It really wasn't. He just got caught in a spot where the guy had his jersey. The guy was in front of him. It wasn't hip drop from behind. And it wasn't like he was being horse collared from the back, right? But yeah, to your point, he's frustrated. He is. And this is going to be an issue for them going forward. His contract, I think, is stopped them from being able to make some moves on their football team to address it. They got both of their defensive tackles injured yesterday. It was a weak spot for their football team to begin with Sheldon Rankins going down, and B.J. Hill went down too, so that's a little concerning. But, man, the Bengals continue to do this, and they're going to have to dig themselves out of a hole. They do have a favorable schedule. That's the good thing they got working in their favor here. They got the Washington Commanders, who I know are solid, but I certainly think the Bengals are better. They got the Carolina Panthers. Then they got the Ravens. Then they got the Giants. Out of the next 4 games, they are better than 3 of the 4 of those teams. I'm not saying anything that's, breaking news there. And let's see if they can win the games they're supposed to win.
And Devin McCourty has developed into a Bengals skeptic. He doesn't want to hear about how they've bounced back in past years. He wants to see it. But the history informs the present.
Right.
We've seen them bounce back. And he made the point last night. 2 of the years they have and 2 of the years they haven't. The 2 years they have, Joe Burrow stayed healthy. The 2 years they didn't, he got injured in November and was lost for the year. Torn ACL as a rookie.
Well, yeah,
and then
they weren't coming in. They weren't going to be good as a rookie no matter what.
Right. But regardless, that's the key.
Yes.
They can turn this around.
Right. They were turning it around last year. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
they almost won yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, they're 0-2.
Right.
But they didn't get embarrassed or outclassed by the Chiefs. They went into a spot where whenever you go to Kansas City during the regular season, you have to assume there's a good chance we're going to come out of there with an L, whether it's week 1, week 18, or any of the weeks in between.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And they could have won. And if they get a chance to go back in January, maybe they will win. So your Super Bowl winner prediction is still very much alive.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. A lot of football left to be played here.
And you can start rattling off the stats of the chances of making the playoffs when you start 0-2. This is only the 4th year of 17 games. So that's really not the sample size necessary. And one of the reasons why teams that start 0-2 don't make it to the playoffs, a lot of those teams suck.
Yeah, right.
It's not very often that there's a really great team that ended up losing its first 2 games for reasons other than the fact that they're a really great team.
Right.
And that may be what happens with the Cincinnati Bengals. But it would be nice for them to get their shit together. Sorry, London.
Yeah.
and win in week 1 and week 2. Because even though you're a much better team or a much worse team, but you're really the same team by January, those losses in early September can haunt you when it comes to making the playoffs, not making the playoffs, winning the division, etc. Let me say one more thing about the hip drop tackle.
Yeah.
Because Joe Mixon got
hip
drop.
It was
night.
hip drop.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Right.
Last Monday night,
right.
Michael Carter of the Jets
hip
drops Juwan Jennings.
Right.
League tells me the next day that was a hip drop. Okay.
Yeah.
Out comes the fines on Saturday. He's not fined, and what you said it was a hip drop. Well, when we looked at it more closely, the 4 elements weren't there. It's like, what the hell? And there had better never be a flag for this, because Joe Mixon was saying, why do you have this rule if you're not going to throw the flag?
Yeah.
But if they don't know what the hell it is, and if they think the morning after a game that it is, and then they decide when they get out the microscope that it wasn't, how do you expect the officials to ever get it right in real time? And this is my biggest concern about the rule. What's going to happen is, in a key moment of a key game, we're going to think we see a hip drop, the flag's going to come out, and it's going to change the game. And the people are going to put on their tinfoil hats, because hey, it's the first time all year this has been flagged. That's what they're setting up. Unless and until they say to the officials, never call it at all. And I hope that's the effect of the past couple of weeks, that they realize we think we may see it, but we really don't know. And you have to do Zapruder film frame by frame to really know. I'm just concerned about it, because I'm always looking for the areas where something can hit the fan.
Yeah, it's not consistent.
And this is an area where something can hit the fan. It just makes me nervous.
I got you.
Like when you have hazards in your house when you have little kids, the stuff that makes you nervous, like the electrical outlet and the stairs. And this is just one of those things that it's in the house, it's a hazard, and it's just, I'm going to worry about it. And I worry about this stuff far more than the NFL does. Why do I worry about it? See, I worry about something that's going to F-K everything up for everyone. Some kind of a scandal, some kind of a controversy, some kind of a thing that gets Congress up the NFL's butt and just creates all sorts of problems for the league and gets people to the point where they just say, this is pro wrestling, we don't care anymore.
Yeah,
even if it's not. But I'm worried about that happening.
Well, I hear you there. It is a little concerning whether they're going to be able to see it in real time and call it the right way and do that. I get that all the way. I thought the one with Joe Mixon last night was hip drop, certainly. I can't remember the Jets one by
it was clear. I mean, it looked clear.
The playoff
pulled him down, pulled Juwan Jennings down without anybody else around.
Right.
And Eli Manning mentioned it right away on the Manning cast. Joe Buck and Troy mentioned it almost right away on the main broadcast, and no flag. And the league said, it's hip drop. And then Saturday, it's like, there's no fine. Well, we looked at it more closely, and it was. So it's just, I'm just worried.
Yeah, don't worry too much. We got a Monday. We got 15
I'm worried
more
about it. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.